a sculptor
Mr. Dwight,
from Denver, Colorado. Well, I was fortunate enough to do the Underground Railroad Memorial down at our plaza down there, and the Gateway to Freedom, as well as the one on in Windsor, the Tower of Freedom over in Windsor. So I kind of got familiar with the Detroit. It's been about 10 years ago, but it didn't seem like it was 10 years ago. Well, that was a combination of studying. Just getting a bunch of illustrations together about what the Underground Railroad, what kind of clothes did they wear, what kind of facial expressions, and then the conductor. I'd like to share a funny story with you. I did the Underground Railroad in Battle Creek, and it was a white conductor, Erastus and Sarah Hussey. So I came to Detroit, and brothers and sisters on the committee jumped all over me. How dare you have a white conductor? And so I said, well, just give me a picture of a brother and I can fix you up. So they gave me a picture of Dave Batiste, and it looks like he's white. I said, when he's in bronze, he's gonna look like he's white. He says, we don't care, we know he's black. He is the only identifiable one on there, especially for the Gateway to Freedom here. He's the only known quantity there. But all the rest of the people, I kind of plucked out of my illustrations, imagination, and other things I've done, in the Underground Railroad to try to gather these images to see, because the clothes are tattered because they've been traveling for a long time and they're tired and they're a little bent, their faces are kind of weathered and all that kind of stuff. But on the one hand, Batiste is pointing at the camera. This gentleman that he's speaking to, he's got a little hope in his eyes there. They say, hey, okay, I think we can deal with that. I got started when I was working for IBM Corporation, of all places. And I used to wear real fancy clothes to work, which you're not supposed to do at IBM, And the boss called me and he said, wearing all them flashy clothes, he said, we're buying a new building and we want you to decorate it because you seem to have a sense of color. I said, well, of course. What he meant by decorating was to go find the art and buy it. And I went and found all this art, brought it back, and he said, that is not what we want. So I was driving to work one day and I said, oh my God, I got this crazy idea. I have 5 kids and all of us got in the basement. I drew down 200 publications of IBM publications and I cut all the pictures out. And I made all these collages, I made 30 collages took him down there, and he said, yes! and that got me started. And he asked me, can I do some sculpture? And I said, no, I don't sculpt. So I went and I taught myself on a weld, but I was doing constructed welding, metal construction, you know, not this stuff. And I did about 60 pieces teaching myself how. I had an art show, and I sold 45 of those 60 pieces. I said, uh-oh. so I was ready to roll then. And our first black lieutenant governor was elected. First black lieutenant governor in the country, George Brown, was elected in Colorado. And he calls me in and he says, Dwight, he says, I've been in your house and I see all that art. I want you to do a sculpture for me to put in the Capitol building as a first. And I said, George, I don't model, I don't do that. He said, go teach yourself how to do it because you're going to do it. And I did. I went to, because he told me all this money I was going to be able to pay. He says, go to the library and get a book. And I did. I went to the library and I got a book. And I taught myself how to sculpt. And I sculpted this guy's head. And it's the first sculpture I ever did in my life.
You know, it's so important for us to have arts and music in our school system. In fact, that's one of the biggest mistakes we've made, is the first thing we cut out was arts and music. And those are things that are so important because they teach our kids about a lot of things. And I tell you what, being here this evening around all this stuff, Ed Dwight is what our young people should see. And I'm not partial about Ed Dwight. I've known Ed Dwight over 20 or 30 years or more. We were in the Air Force together, and 20 years ago we were out in California to an Image Award, and I tell you what, my wife has about 5 of these pieces in our house because Ed, and for young kids, not to know Ed Dwight is a mistake. And I would like to see him in Detroit school system so our young people can see a young man who puts all this stuff together.
The kids come into my studio. I have a 30,000 square foot studio, and I'm running kids through there like once a week. I mean, the elementary school kids, when I'm traveling on the road, they come in and they look at this stuff, and they ask me the same kind of questions that you in their way, same kind of questions, you know. And I have to discuss that it's not just playing of the music. The music means something. There's a depth to it, and they use it to tell stories. You use it to solve issues. You use it to protest. There's a whole range of things that you use music for. And these kids are spellbound. I mean, they love it, especially when they when they can look at a piece of art, whether it's a painting or a sculpture. All of a sudden, they just open up and and they'll go to, oh, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. You know, and that's, you know, yes, you can. You certainly can. You know, because you know this whole thing with these kids, and this is what it's all about. It's about the kids. It's, you know, not about us grown-up folks.
I am Bill Brooks. You're watching Detroit on Channel 22. And I tell you, it's important to me to be here this evening to really celebrate one of the great sculptors of our time.